Hello and welcome to the Town Hall. I'm Melay Araya, Artistic Director and host of this evening's program. Today is but one installment in a series called Century of Story and Song. The Town Hall was founded in 1921 by a group of suffragists who wanted the space to be a home to adult education, consciousness raising, and civil discussion. Actually, it was founded 100 years ago last Tuesday. So I'm glad that you're here today celebrating our centennial with us. But we are also known for our great performance history, including some greats like Isaac Stern, Paul Robeson, Louis Armstrong, Bob Dylan, Billie Holiday, Leontine Price, Nina Simone, Philip Glass. We can go on and on and on. But Fado has also had a great history at the Hall, with the song and the rituals being performed as early as the 1950s in the Hall. But perhaps two of the most important and enduring moments in our history were the 1990 concert by Amalia Rodriguez, which later was turned into a live album, and the Town Hall debut of Mariza, which started a 2-decade relationship between the Hall and this wonderful musical innovator. So today we are so excited to have Mariza with us, the renowned Fado singer, musical innovator, icon, joining us today from Lisbon. Mariza is celebrating 2 decades of her career, millions of albums sold, and innovations and influence that is untold and will continue for generations to come. Mariza, thank you so much for joining us.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine. Congratulations. I didn't know that you made 100 years.
100 years ago.
Oh, fantastic. Congratulations. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, right? It's a big one. Well, it's interesting, 100 years for us, last year, 100 years for Amalia Rodriguez. And important to us in our history is, of course, 20 years of you and your career. You came so early to the Town Hall. And our executive director, Larry, always talks about the first time he heard you sing in our hall. In fact,
I remember so well, for me I was so nervous to step at the same stage as such an icon names, like Billie Holiday that I love so much, Nina Simone, other such wonderful and fantastic names of the music history. I was really, really nervous to put my step in that stage. I remember it was an amazing concert. And almost 20 years later, talking with you about my music and about what I've been doing in this last times.
Yeah. Well, it's the centenary of Amalia Rodriguez's birth and 2 decades, as we've said, of your career. And I would like to start by asking you questions about the start of your own music making. I know that you were born in Mozambique, but you came very early on to Portugal. Could you tell us about the earliest sounds, the earliest songs that you heard, whether in your own home, from your parents, or in school with your friends? What were some of the earliest sounds and songs?
Because I have an African mother, my mom used to show me different styles of music from Africa and from the world. Music from Antilles, music from France, Africa, music from Nina Simone, from Mahalia Jackson, Frank Sinatra. My mom was a very eclectic, she had a very eclectic mind about music. My father was more traditional, more Portuguese. And I used to listen a lot of Fado, male voices, not female voices, because my father loves Fado sing by male voices. And that was my world. At the school, at the high school, I used to listen some rock and roll, but was not really the world that I used to move to. because growing in a traditional neighborhood, I grew up in a very traditional neighborhood where musicologists, they say Fado was born there at the 19th century. Um, well, growing up in that type of places, the music was surrounding me was mostly Fado. And later, when I start having more notion about music, when I start coming out from my neighborhood, yeah, I start listening jazz and some soul music, some hip hop, some rock. But mainly what construct my world was African music and fado.
Do you remember the first time that you heard Amalia Rodriguez?
Was very late in my teenage age. I was walking on downtown, and they used to have kind of record store, and I was listening an amazing voice singing Barco Negro, and I didn't know about the song. It was just the sounds they were calling me, and I entered in the store and I asked to the gentleman who was singing, and he was looking for me like, what happening? She doesn't know we're singing because I didn't. And he said, "This is Amalia." And I said, "Amalia?" I think I was with my 15 or 16 years old. I said, "Amalia." And I bought the a vinyl record. And I arrived home and said to my daddy, "I found an amazing singer. Look at these." And my father said, "Yeah, Amalia." I think I was the only one in my country who I didn't know.
That's so interesting that you grew up hearing mostly men sing Fado,
Yeah,
no?
yeah. A lot of male voices. You know, we lost about 15 days ago.
Hmm.
We lost our most important male voice from the 20th century. Well, middle of the 20th century was Carlos do Carmo, and I grew up listening him. He was my master. He was like my conductor. He was the one. The first fado I remember to sing in my life with 5 years old was I learned by his voice. So in some way, I feel a little bit lost at this moment when we talk about fado because one of my male figures disappeared.
Hmm. Well, Fado is like other traditional art forms and traditional music styles is generally passed down from person to person, from an elder to a younger person. Is that
Yeah,
how it was for you, or how did you learn?
it must work like that. It's an oral tradition. Uh, Without knowing, old generations they passed what they know. They are not really. We don't sit and ask how to. Can you teach us? Can you say how it works? No, we just go and listen. But it's the old voices or the old generation who pass to the young generation, but in an oral way. We don't have schools. We don't have conservatorium. We just learn on the streets, the traditional way of learning. I don't know other way of learning. Uh, Today, we have a museum. At my time didn't exist, but we have a museum now where we can go and learn. We have a lot of documents that we can research and know about all the history of Fado, about all the voices, male and female, about the poems, about the metrics, how to construct a poem to Fado, about the Portuguese guitar. And we are very lucky to have that place where we can go and research and know a little bit more. In my time, when I start, that type of places didn't exist. So we have to go to the streets. We have to go to small tavernas and to listen. And the message was passed by the old generation to us, the youngest ones.
So the oral tradition still does exist in its own way.
Some places where you can go, and what we call fado vadio, probably in English we can say free fado. Free fado is a place where you can go, small places where you have the musicians, the Portuguese guitar and acoustic guitar, and anyone who would like to sing could sing.
Mm.
You know? Like, I would like to sing. You can go and sing. And that's how it works. And for centuries, it works like that.
Wow. There seems to be a gap in popular recordings of Fado in Portugal and the popularity possibly. When was that and why do you think that is?
Well, I think that what you're talking about was in the middle of 80s until like middle of 90s, I think. And that happened because Fado in certain point was I don't know how to say that word in English. He returned to the working classes again,
Mm-hmm.
and to the traditional neighborhoods. So the high classes, the more cultural classes, they were not listening this type of music. They were listening some jazz, some French music, Italian music. Probably that happened because we had the regime, and Fado in some point was connected to that regime. And some people was like, we don't want to belong to that idea. But the idea was wrong. Fado is a music who belongs to Portugal, who belongs to a soul, to people, to sings the mornings of that people, to sing the soul of that people. The saudade, that's the word we have in English, of these country. So until the end of middle of 90s, it's probably the middle of 90s, Fado was not so popular. I remember when I started singing, and I started singing with 5 years old, Fado was not for the young generation. Fado was not listened by people in the middle of 20s. They were not listening to this type of music. I don't know what happened. In the end of the 90s, Amalia died, and suddenly Fado began to be listened again. Now in Portugal, you see Fado you listen Fado in the radio, you listen Fado in televisions. There's a lot of concerts of Fado, places where you can go and listen some Fado, and in that time, like between the 80s and 90s, there's not so popular.
Yeah.
I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But you decided to record your album, but it wasn't released in Portugal initially, no?
Yes, well, more or less. The story is a little bit strange because I stopped to sing Fado for a while. And with my 15 years old, someone told me that I was singing differently. And when you are a teenager and someone say to you that you sing different, probably you don't have the backs to understand that differently could be positive. So I thought I was not really being a good singer or trying to protect this type of music. So I stopped of singing and I was just listening. And meanwhile, I had some bands and I used to sing in clubs, but not Fado. One night I sang a Fado for fun, and there was the owner of a place where Fado is sung every night, and he invited me to sing there. And I started singing one night per week. And suddenly all the passion about Fado returned, and I was really moved to understand, to sing, to know, to record to have the memory of everything that I lived in my childhood. And my father was the one who really make me sing this type of music. So I had the idea of doing a record just to offer him with my money. I was not looking for a label. I was not looking to make concerts. Actually, I didn't want to. And I started recording, and I met the president of a label, a Dutch label. And he was really in the mood of releasing. I know you are recording, and I know you have an album, but I was not really in that kind of. I didn't want to. My idea was just really to make one record to offer to my father. And the manager works to me today. At that time, we had bands together, and he said, "Do you allow me to go to a label here in Portugal and try to find if this is okay?" I said, "No, I don't want to." But in my back, he did it. And he went to all the labels here in Portugal. And all of them, they say, "No, we don't want a Fado record because didn't sell. If we sell 3,000 copies, we are more than happy." So for me, it was okay. But the guy from Holland was really being annoying. He was pulling and pushing. And I said, "Oh my God, when I already said that I don't want to." And he went to one of the biggest fairs of music, Omex. And he did a lot of promotion without signing. He did a lot of promotion about me, about my name, about that I'm going to have a record next year, and blah 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 blah. And he said, "If you don't sign with me, you have to pay me what I already did about promotion of you." And I didn't have money. I said, "Are you crazy? I didn't ask nothing. And I didn't know that you were doing that." He said, "But yeah, but you have to pay me." And he was so credible that I was so afraid that I said, "Okay, I will sign, but just tell me if what is going to happen if I sign." He said, "No, nothing is going to happen, because I'm such a small label. I just want to have the record." And I signed it. And here I am.
I love that story because you are big all over the world. People listen to your music all over the world. Your music does go outside of Portugal, but also it sounds like the world comes into your music as well. Your music is described as Fado, but you could hear other influences. And I was wondering if you could talk about, you talked earlier about the music that your mom brought into your life, but currently, what are the influences? What other countries? Are there particular artists that you're always listening for encouragement or just for inspiration?
I listen to music from all over the world. And I love to know more about music. On the other day, but depends of my mood. For example, about 4 days ago, I was listening to Vela Vargas. And I was really dancing and listening. And, yesterday, I was listening the gentleman that I said that he passed away about 15 days ago, Carlos do Carmo. And, I put music in home. I was listening a lot of fados of him and remembering his voice and everything. I have days that I like to listen some pop music. And at this moment, because of my son, Harry Styles is the one. My son loves him, and I listen with him. It's better than BTS. On the other day, I was listening to this. I have to say it. Well, it's. But yeah, it's music. I have days that I wake up and I like to listen to Maria Callas. Depends of my mood. I don't have really a specific music where I say to you, like, at this moment, I'm listening
Mm-hmm.
Depends of how I wake up. Have days that I just listen Fado and I'm going, jumping from one interpreter to other. Um, but yes, let me tell you that I don't listen to my records. That's no way, no way. But yeah, I'm jumping for different types of music. Depends of the day, if it's sunny, if it's cloudy, depends of my mood, if I'm more happy, if I'm more melancholic. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Portuguese speaking world also has such diverse styles of music, or so many countries. I mean, Portugal, Brazil, Angola, so many countries as well. I was wondering if that also is just part of your making, not only listening, but also being in Portugal, where so many immigrants come from so many of these countries, if that sound is also part of what gets you going.
Yes, yes. Because I have an African mom and my father lives a lot of time in Africa also. In my house, Africa lives. I live in Europe. I live in Portugal. I feel Portuguese, but all my education is more African than European. And at home, we listen a lot of kizomba, bonga, cesárea, Lura. I don't know. My mom put a lot of African music. She's still listening a lot of African music. And now with the YouTube, it's easy to find a lot of different and know about different styles and different artists from Africa that sometimes they didn't arrive here in Europe.
It's true. It's one of the blessings of the digital world is you have access to people who have never left their home country.
Yes, that's true.
It's
It's
very
true.
beautiful. Well, it's 2 decades into your career. I'm sure you can't believe it. It's like so fast. What are your hopes for the next 2 decades?
Well, I released an album
Mhm.
tribute to Amalia.
Yes.
We talked in the beginning of this conversation. Amalia, if was Amalia was alive, 100 years old, and all this road, my road, musical road with records, began 20 years ago. So, what I expect the next 20 to have um, the mental healthiness to still doing good music, trying to find good poems, and trying to make music for people's life. It's unbelievable when I read some messages that people left me in my digital platforms to understand that my music make part of life of so many people in so different moments, and that really make me feel so little, because we never know how my I never know, and I never had the notion, and with this all this pandemic thing that is happening to us, and we are not able of doing concerts, working and do what we love most. I, I never had the notion how music could be important in life of other people, and that make me feel in some point like a little tiny thing, uh, in the middle of all of these.
Well, performers, it's been an interesting last year, basically, year, 10 months during the pandemic. What has it been like for you?
Well, as I don't know if you know, here in Portugal we start a new, uh, excuse me, lockdown. Yeah, and We don't have a chance of doing concerts, no theater, no musical concerts, no nothing cultural is completely locked down. We don't have the chance of doing nothing, but we don't have the chance of doing nothing for more than 10 months. And we
Yeah.
don't know how and when is going to happen. So, in some way, I felt a little bit privileged because I have the chance of doing. Uh, my agenda was to make 120 concerts this last year, but we had a chance of doing 5, and I feel very blessed to have the chance of doing that 5 because I know um, musicians who didn't have the chance of singing um, nothing or playing nothing, or they didn't do nothing. One concert they didn't do. And we don't know how we're going to survive. And sometimes it's strange, when people look at us and say, "Your music make part of my life. Your music is giving me energy to pass all these more gray moments." Yeah, and the messages of people give us the energy of thinking that things are going to be better and we're going to return to our normal lives and do what we love most. Of course, we live from this, but I never knew any musician or singer or actor who doesn't do what we do without the heart. And we love what we do. So we hope that all of these pass fast and we have the chance of returning and doing music in my case.
Well, you said earlier that, Fado is also a music of mourning and soul and all of this. And it's been a year of mourning and just and melancholy as well. Um, and I was, before we close, I was wondering if you could just speak about that, because I think sometimes people get confused about songs like Morna or anything like that that expresses longing or mourning, that they are self-pity, when in fact there's something else is going on that's much richer. Could you say something about that?
Well, it's amazing that you talk about Morna, because sometimes people make a lot of confusion about Fado and Morna, and sometimes they think they are the same things. They don't know how the difference. Well, Morna, musicologists, they say it's direct cousin of Fado. And Fado is a music we settle down in the feelings of life, in the feelings of a human being. And the unbelievable thing is we can sing the sorrows, we can sing melancholy, we can sing saudade, which probably in English is longing, but also we can sing love, we can sing happiness, we can sing the good parts of life also, because we don't pass our lives all the time when in a melancholy way or in a mourning way or in a sad way or in a saudade way. Even saudade can be happy. So Fado is this. It's a way of expressing the feelings of the soul.
Thank you so much for speaking with us. I hope everyone comes back on January 29th at 7 p.m., where we will get to see Mariza, not in our hall as usual, but this time in Lisbon. Can you tell us about where we'll see you?
Well, today is very cold, but sunny.
Okay.
Very sunny with a beautiful light, but cold.
And
Very cold.
the venue for the concert, can you tell us about it?
Well, can it
Okay.
be a surprise?
Oh, yes, it absolutely can. It is a surprise. Thank you.
We decide to do something more, how do you say, more intimate, more cozy. It's not a venue.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I can't wait to be surprised as well.
But we're going to have a lot of fun for sure, because we are like, we want to play.
That's wonderful. Well, I'm excited. Everyone, please go to the town hall website and make sure to get your tickets. It's going to be an incredible night. We all need Fado. We all need to celebrate Amalia, and it will be a gift to spend time with Mariza at this concert. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.